What's up, everyone? TC Ty Killer here, and we are about 24 hours away from the second week of college football. And the Pac-12 did pretty good last week besides Oregon State. We'll talk about them next video, which should be coming out tomorrow. But today I just want to talk about South because there's 10 Pac-12 games this week, and it's going to take a long time to talk about the games and do the predictions. So I just split it up into two videos. For what it's worth, I predict the top 25 ranked teams as well as the Pac-12 teams. I just do the Pac-12 teams here for videos, but on Reddit, the subreddit CFB, you can go on there, look up my username, TCTykilla, all lowercase, no spaces or anything, and you can see all my picks for the top 25 as well as the Pac-12 conference. And if anyone is interested, I can also be start doing videos at the starting of the week, kind of giving my predictions, maybe a short little reasoning since there's a lot of picks to make, as well as maybe I could do my updated rankings every other week in that video as well. So it might be a little bit longer, but if people are wanting to listen to that and get my picks, then definitely let me know. Last week I went 20-2 in the top 25 and 9-1 in the Pac-12, and against the spread I went 14-8 in the top 25 and 7-3 in the Pac-12. So that's where I'm standing right now. I'll mention that again in the next video in the second half of the Pac-12 predictions, but I'll get started here today with the South Division only. First off, we'll go with the team that has the second week bye, and that is UCLA. They had a big weekend against Nevada. 58-20 was the final score. 41 points in the second half, just wearing them down. Hundley had 4 touchdowns and was 22 for 33 for 274 yards, and he is considered a slight outside dark horse Heisman candidate. And they play in Nebraska next week, so they're going to be gearing up for a big-time non-conference matchup. Next up, we have tomorrow's game, Arizona State, and they play Sacramento State. Sacramento State lost to San Jose State 24-0 last week and only mustered up 278 yards, and they're going to be playing a better defense led by Will Sutton tomorrow. And I'm expecting Arizona State to come out fired. This is their first game in front of their home crowd, and lots of returning talent there. And the offense led by Taylor Kelly, Grice, and Foster. I can't remember the other running back's name right off the top of my head, but I'll just go with a pick: 49-3 Arizona State over Sacramento State. 49 might be a little low. But I have them doing that, and the spread is at -37 in favor of Arizona State. Next up, we have Colorado versus Central Arkansas. Colorado, a great win last week. I didn't get to watch any of the South Division games, but I did. I was on like game threads on Reddit, because most of them were on the Pac-12 networks, and I don't have that yet. So hopefully soon. Colorado at Central Arkansas, and I expect a big win here by Colorado. Not overly good. I think their defense will allow some points, but they handled Colorado State fairly well. I think the final score was 41-27, maybe something like that. So I think it's going to be it's going to be a good confidence builder for Colorado, and they will pull out a victory. I'm predicting a 41-20 in that game. Last week, Connor Wood completed 33 of his 46 passes for 400 yards. So if they keep him up, they should be able to roll past Central Arkansas. Next up, I have Arizona at UNLV. UNLV lost big to a Minnesota team that isn't great. I think they lost by like 30 points or something like that. So UNLV is probably looking for another bad year in the Mountain West. With all those pass-happy offenses. Arizona, I'm not sure what the quarterback situation looks like. I think Deck, I'm not sure who even played last week. But this is an interesting line from Vegas. They're only favored by 10 points. So I don't know if that's... I'm not thinking of something that could influence that score greatly, but it looks like an easy bet right there, as I have Arizona 38 and UNLV 17. Next up, I have USC versus Washington State. That is one of the games that the first Pac-12 game of the year, and it's an inter-division matchup. And so I got USC. Last week they looked great on defense. From what I heard, they won at Hawaii 30-13, but the offense kind of was not very good. They didn't really settle a quarterback spot there, and the quarterback competition is going into week 2 and possibly longer. They finally get a home game here in the Coliseum, but wasn't very convincing. I'm surprised they did not drop out of the top 25, to be honest, especially with that great Vandy Ole Miss game. But a few people are concerned about the USC offense, and it's leading people to kind of predict this upset here, because Washington State looked really good at Auburn. I watched, I think, the first half, maybe the first 3 quarters of that game, and I was pretty surprised by Washington State. I know Auburn isn't great, but they're still an SEC team in the Deep South, in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and it was a pretty close game. If Washington State wouldn't have turned it over as many times, I'm sure you all heard that they threw 3 interceptions, and Auburn only had 2 interceptions all year last year. So that was one of the big stats of the game. And down the stretch, Washington State was holding Auburn to only field goals, and that was the final difference. 31-24 was the final score in Auburn's favor. And so, like I said, a lot of people are kind of choosing Washington State over USC, so big expectations for the Cougars going into Los Angeles. But I don't think it's going to happen. Reiterating, in Los Angeles, I don't think USC is going to lose at the Coliseum. And I'm going to say USC pulls out the victory 34-24. It's going to be a close one, but USC will probably prevail. And the final game for the South this week, Utah versus Weber State. Utah, another team that looked pretty good last week against Utah State, getting that revenge in a 30-26 win over the Aggies. And I think they were looking pretty good as far as people were saying about their new offense. And Wilson, their quarterback, looked pretty good and looks to be a good fit in that scheme as well down there in the Utes new offense. So Weber State is an FCS team, and so that should be a fairly easy win. Hopefully they don't overlook them going into next week. This week for the Pac-12, it's kind of a little bit of cupcakes, but next week is going to be challenging with opponents such as Nebraska, Notre Dame, and I don't remember the other big one. But I'm going with Utah on this one. Easy choice here, 38, Weber State 14. So those are 5 Pac-12 South games. And tomorrow I will be coming out with a video for the Pac-12 North games. And I already shared with you one of those with Washington State. So there will only be 4. And I'll be talking a little bit more about games from last week for the North, because I got to watch a majority of one of the other games as well as the full Washington game. So I'll talk about Washington for a little bit, just since they are my team. But thanks for watching. If you guys want to hear my Pac-12 or my top 25 picks, let me know. Go check it out on Reddit. And comment with your predictions for Week 2 in the Pac-12 South. Thanks for watching, and be checking for the Pac-12 North predictions. Peace.